Alrighty. Hi, everybody. As you know, my name is Jacob Levesque, and I'm joined with Gary Saucier, my uncle. And this is our 12th installment of the Master and Apprentice show. We got a lot to talk about, and he's going to give us a rundown on what we're doing today.
Yes, sir. Thanks, Jacob, again for joining me for this. Always fun. It's been a hot minute since we've done one, right? I think it was back in January.
It's been a
Uh,
while. Very,
your
very busy
schedule,
couple months, but yeah.
as I always say, your schedule has been absolutely bat crap crazy.
Yep.
So we
Yep.
haven't had a chance to do one of these in a while. But we've got maybe not as busy schedule as we've seen in some of our past shows, but we got a couple things to talk about. First of all, happy Star Wars Day to everyone. We're recording this a little later at night, but it is still May the 4th. There's still 3 hours and 30 minutes to go in Star Wars Day.
Just enough time to,
Just
to
enough
make
time to get
sure.
this in. Right,
Yep.
right.
Yep.
So happy Star Wars Day to all of our followers and our viewers and all Star Wars fans everywhere. Thank you, everyone, for joining us. And the second thing I wanted to say, I forgot.
We were talking about the
I want
agenda
to do the
before, if you had
agenda.
anything
I
to say.
want to do the agenda.
There we go.
That's right. That's right. Okay, so we got a couple things we're going to talk about. So today, Maul, Shadow Lord, um, finished
Just
up.
finished.
It just
Just
finished
finished today.
today. Yeah, yeah. Great, great show. And before I go any further, Jacob and I talked about this last night. We are going to go into spoilers. I always forget to say that. We are
Yes.
going
Yeah.
into heavy, heavy, heavy spoiler territory in regards to
In
all Shadow Lord.
Yeah, in general, for those who
Yeah.
watch our show, I would say it's pretty common that we go into spoilers the vast majority of the time. But that's
Yeah.
not always true. But it's been the case most times because
That's right.
usually we're breaking down a show like this, and that means we're going to do it in its full entirety.
Yeah.
Uh, for Maul Shadow Lord in particular, we're going to talk about the entire thing, especially the stuff at the end because it's very cool. But
Exactly.
anyway, spoiler warning.
Right, right. I think it's especially important probably that I say it this time since the show just ended today. And we may
Yep.
have some folks out there who stumble on this or who are watching this who just haven't had a chance to check it out yet. I mean, everybody leads busy lives these days. And if you
Yep.
haven't had a chance to watch Maul Shadow Lord, I would skip ahead a ways. I don't know how long we're going to be doing this, but I would skip ahead or maybe just go ahead and watch this whole show later. Because later we're going to talk about the Mandalorian Grogu. There have been two more trailers since we actually did a preview of our last show, right? It
Yep.
was
We
episode
did.
11.
Yeah, we were talking a little bit
Excuse
about
me.
anticipation and what we were expecting from it. I
Yeah.
expected all of our predictions to be somewhat null and void after I watched the movie and realized that we were wrong, but that's just how things go.
I think I said on our last show, I said our track record isn't that great. So,
But whatever. It's for the love of the game. We're all
it
here
is,
for
yeah.
having
But
fun.
yeah, but since then we've gotten a couple more trailers and with a few more scenes that we'd like to talk about. So we're going to do
Sure.
screenshots and stuff. So, all right, Jacob, why don't we get into Maul Shadow Lord? I'm going to move my phone out of the way here. I shut it off in case it goes
Sure.
off on me here.
I can
What'd you
start off
think?
with an opinion on it, I think. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
what'd
in
you think
general,
overall?
for those who have watched our show in the past and know my opinions on Star Wars content or content for stuff in general, I'm usually a huge proponent of the underworld, like gritty crime type stuff, or at least even like political stuff that Star Wars does. Obviously, I'm a huge fan of lightsaber battles and whatnot, but at the core, I'm a huge fan of that stuff. It's very like real world in a way, and it really grounds Star Wars in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
And this show did that for me, but it also included a lot of the very action-packed scenes that I really enjoy from Star Wars, especially with high intensity lightsaber fighting and whatnot. This show delivered it in every way. It had really good pacing as well, I would say. Like I had no issues with the way that the show was paced. Progressively moving more and more Imperial control and then pushing Maul and his group and everybody else away from trying to get off the planet. And really starting off and getting to see Maul in his very like brutal but also very like revenge driven state is something I've been looking to see for a while and something that we really hadn't had much content on for a long time. So in general, I mean, this is a 10 out of 10, and at least in my opinion, right? But I've been seeing this opinion everywhere. Like people have been loving this show, which is funny because most people, I mean, most Star Wars fans, unless you're diehard or watch a lot of stuff, tend to maybe disregard some of the animated stuff from time to time.
Yeah.
But I've heard a lot of people even that didn't really enjoy animated stuff come and watch the show and hear a lot of good stuff about it. And I mean, it might get more people into watching more of that kind of content as well. But I loved it. Really great show. But
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, sorry, I got laughing. We were joking
all good.
around before we started the show, and I got laughing. My 58-year-old throat can't handle that anymore.
Yeah,
Anyway,
too much
so
whimsy.
yeah, I totally agree with you on this. I am happy to hopefully see maybe more fans get into the animated stuff, because I think there are some great stories there that I think fans who have only been watching the live action stuff could really get into. A lot of people,
Yeah,
I think, see animation and they say, "Ah, it's for kids." Well, I'll tell you what, especially the recent stuff has not exactly been for kids. I mean,
especially this show actually. Like
this show
even
is violent, man. This
yeah,
show is
first
very violent.
yeah, first two episodes even of this show. So like I mean just
Oh
in
yeah.
general, like the first two episodes were very gritty underworld like. It was establishing like the Shadow Collective as like a group, right? Which is something that like we hadn't really heard of very much, right? Because we knew of Crimson Dawn, we knew of those other groups like the Pikes and whatnot and how they interacted with Maul. And we knew that they at some point betrayed him because we've seen him in Rebels, right? But we got to see and like we knew he was abandoned. So at some point there had to be an issue there, but I didn't realize that the fallout had come at that point, and then he drives himself back up. But being able to see how he took care of that and how he holds his own collective, how he intermingles with other criminal networks and shows himself as a dominant figure in that world, it was a very solid building block for this show, and it made it very interesting. But it also made him very brutal because when he took out the Pikes and killed their leader, which was also very brutal in its sense. It showed that in the trailers even, and everybody even before the show had came out realized that this is going to be beyond just kiddie animation, right? And that was before
A
it
little
even dropped its
hardcore.
first episode. And now we're at the end of the show, and I can say, yeah, that was exactly what everybody was saying, and it was right. There was a lot of violence. But I mean, at the core, Maul's a very vengeance-driven character who has a lot of potential to be violent. So numbing that down in any way would have been probably negative to his character. So I'm glad that they chose to do that. Animation, live action, however you do it, but they did a really good job treating it, I think. But started off the show at a good pace too. I really loved how they started all that.
Oh yeah, it started off with, I mean, it looked like it was just it's just a bank robbery, and it's just your regular run of the mill. Okay, somebody just happened to hit, what was his name? Nico Demus's bank here, and robbed him, and it
Yep.
turns out it was, Maul, and none of the people on Janek seem to know who he is. I mean,
Nope.
well, Devin knows because when he meets her, she's in her prison cell for stealing the fruit and he meets her. She knows him, obviously. I
Hmm.
think people in the Jedi Order would have known him anyway, either whether they met him personally or whether, have you seen this man, that sort of thing. Uh,
Yeah.
but, these people like Captain Lawson and nobody on the police force seem to know who this guy is. But it becomes more clear as we go through the episodes that, hey, there's something going on here. This red guy with the black tattoos causing a whole manner of higgledy-piggledy here.
Yeah.
That's a word I learned in the comic strip Bloom many years ago. Uh,
Yeah.
but
Well,
yeah,
yeah,
so
I thought it was cool too when Lawson was talking about the Shadow Collective. He's like,
yeah,
I've seen something like this before, but I don't know who it is, but I think it's this group, right?
yeah.
Because he like that provided a lot of like it made the group have a lot of impact without even having to see them do anything because Lawson already knew what their potential was and what they were going up against, and just the way he phrased it, like you didn't need as a viewer to have to see the stuff that they had done before because he's already telling you that it was a lot, right? And then he goes through and does something like this where it was also kind of out there. um and then you see like as a detective, if he shows concern, the rest of the viewership, including myself, was like, "Ooh, this is a big crew here. There's a lot to be asked of." And obviously, afterward, when he started setting up a lot of the inner crime lord feuds, like Maul established doing that, right? That Demas versus Vario situation, I think that was episode two that happened. I think that might have been one actually. Now that I'm thinking
I
about
think
it,
you're right. Yeah.
but anyway, early section, right? But like he set up the transaction between the two of them because he hit that bank and made it look like it was them attacking each other, right? And then that meetup obviously led, one thing led to another, and um, Demas ended up taking over Barrio and killing him out too, and taking over his syndicate and stuff like that,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
But and then
Vario killed Demas.
oh yeah, other way around, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, but
The Alina guy killed the grand fellow there.
yeah, but like regardless, like it was a pretty pretty crazy situation to be able to
Oh yeah.
see Maul's collective in such a strong state that he's actually trying to take over what's happening on Janix and just control that area a lot more. But
I always like to point out to the viewers, I'm old fashioned. I got this stuff all written down here, on a piece of paper, not coming through on the well, I think it's the way I'm holding it up anyway, but yeah. Yeah, Tom Brokaw here at the news desk. You know,
old fashioned's good. Old
yeah.
fashioned's good.
Today in Washington, D.C., I don't do a very good Tom Brokaw. I do a better Walter Cronkite. So anyway, yeah, yeah. So, but once Lawson and the police, okay, hold on. I gotta back up. We gotta talk about what's his official designation, 2B0T, otherwise
Yeah,
known as Two
yeah,
Boots.
yeah.
How great is that they
Such a
gave?
cool
And
character,
he's
right? I don't
wearing,
know
we don't know where
how
he
he
got
got his
those boots
boots.
from, but he's
Yeah,
wearing boots. The
yeah.
Empire later, we'll get to that, makes him remove them because they're
Take
not
off
regulation.
crazy.
Let's
But
talk about Two Boots. He's awesome.
yeah, he's a great character. So, I mean, I know you and myself are also like diehards for the droids. I love
I
droid
love the
characters.
droids.
Star Wars does such a good job building up droid characters and then finding a way to get rid of them that makes us all so sad. They did it with K2SO and Rogue One.
Yeah,
Um, right at in Rise of Skywalker when they teased the C3PO thing. Like in
yeah.
the trailers even, that was like a huge like whoa. Like that was quite
My big,
something.
yeah, my big prediction going into at that movie, into the Rise of Skywalker, was that we were going to see the end of C3PO. I
Yeah, I
thought
thought so
we were,
too. Didn't turn
but
out to be that way,
didn't turn out.
but right, but like it's one of those things where it's like they always hint at taking out a droid character because they know that the audience loves him. It's like hate to say it, but it's like comparing him to like a dog or like a beloved pet, right? Like it's the same kind of situation, right? Unfortunately, right? And you hate
All
to
of the
lose them.
all the dog owners watching this just went click, shut it off.
But you know what I mean? Like it's just
And
like
I know.
they find such a way to make you love those characters and
Yeah.
whatnot, and it's just yeah, and then they take care of them in an unfortunate way. But yeah, so Two Boots did not meet that demise. Thankfully, this
Oh
is
yeah,
a
we got a
character that
second
we
season
haven't.
coming.
Yeah, second season's coming, I guess.
Yeah.
But in the first season, he's made it unscathed, which is quite nice. But
Right.
yeah, I want to know how he got his boots, and I don't like. There's
I was gonna
definitely
say,
a mission that
I
him
was gonna
and
say
like Captain
we didn't
Lawson.
get the story on how
Yeah,
there are obviously boots that an organic being. I almost said
yeah,
human, but it could have been anyone.
that fit a droid. I
Yeah, they just
guess.
happened to fit him, and he liked them, and his designation is 2B0T.
Yeah,
It worked
it
out.
was fitting, super
It's
fitting,
fitting.
right?
Yeah,
Yeah. In my
exactly.
mind, like my head canon, my opinion on it is that he probably was on a mission with Captain Lawson and they ended up finding boots that fit him or something like that. Or like some like person that they had to arrest had boots that took off of him and he's like, wow, these
Right.
boots fit really well. Or something stupid like that, right? And then he ends up wearing them for the rest of the time.
Oh, Captain, he's
But
nice. You
yeah,
know, however it is
something
you
like
come
that.
up. Yeah,
But no,
but
outside of the boots too, like his character, like he's just such a funny dude. Like
he is.
he sticks so heavy to code to a fault because if I'm not mistaken, he was the one that called the Empire in at the end of
That's
the
what I was
day,
just going to say.
right? So
His programming was that, okay, we here at the Janix Police Force can't handle this situation. This thing with Maul was starting to ramp up and ramp up. And then by, I think it was the fourth episode at the end of it, that Lawson had shut him down because I think he was concerned he was going to do something. And then I think someone even turned him back on and he went right back to his programming and said, we can't handle this deal. So I got to call in the Empire here. That's my only
yep,
choice. I mean, it's not
yep.
really
And I
his
mean,
fault.
he wanted to hold so heavily to that programming, even by the
Yeah.
end of the show. If you remember that episode today, they were like, "Oh my gosh, there's toxic sludge everywhere. I must report this."
Yeah.
And Captain Lawson's
Really?
like, really? Are you sure about that? Because like actually, if you report it to anybody right now, you're going to be arrested too, because
Well,
your name is
I
everywhere.
think the comment was something to the effect of these weren't the exact words, but I think it was something to the effect of really with all this other stuff we got going on right now,
Yeah,
this is what
yeah.
you're going to
That's
report.
his top priority is that
This
for
isn't
some reason.
exactly right, right? We'll deal with this later. So,
Yeah.
but
So,
anyway,
but
but
pretty neat situation. But I love witty droids, and he's definitely like a top tier witty
always
droid.
another one.
So kudos out to Two Boots because he's great.
He
He's
is
great.
great, and he looks after Riley, and we see
He
that
does.
too. We might as
Well,
well cut to the chase.
his arc too, because he went from being very stringent into the code and then eventually realizing, even with his programming, that he was wrong about this stuff, right? Because he's
Yeah,
like, I mean, he like you said, got his two boots taken away from him, and then got to see too. He's like, because Captain Lawson told him, he's like, I'm not safe, like I'm wanted, right, or something like that. And he was like, what do you mean? Like the Empire's here to help us, and he's like, you don't get the full picture, which is true. I mean, like that's what Captain Lawson was trying to tell him in the first place, but didn't really land, right? But once he got to see it, like actually happening, he figured it out and went against his programming and rescued Riley, which was really cool. Like that was a very cool character building moment for
it
him.
was. It was.
Right.
So we
Obviously,
want
he
to.
was like, "Oh, the sludge," but that was a witty thing. That was stupid, but but yeah, he's had his moment, so it's pretty awesome.
So I think we can segue maybe talk about his dad, about Captain Lawson here.
Yep.
Brander Lawson is his name, and Star Wars is starting to dig now with these animated shows too. They're starting to dig into real life recognizable situations. So
Hmm.
here's a single parent. Here's
Yep.
a single dad raising a teenage son. Uh, he's divorced from his wife. She works for the Empire. I don't know if they
Yeah.
said exactly what she does,
No,
but
she's on Coruscant though.
she is on Coruscant. Yes, that's right. She's on Coruscant. And so that might be why that may come into Lawson's hesitancy at contacting the Empire, maybe.
Yeah.
I was like, oh
Yeah.
God, I might have to deal with her again.
Because
I
we
don't
never figured out the terms of their split. I don't think, right?
know.
Other than the fact that they are.
Yeah, other than the fact that they're divorced or split or however it works in a galaxy far, far away, I don't know.
Yeah,
We haven't actually
probably
seen
no
it.
different.
We haven't actually seen a divorce lawyer on screen, but in my head canon, they're out there.
Oh,
And
probably. Yeah.
yeah, and I mean, I would if I were to guess, and we don't need to know in this show. If I were to guess, I would say, she wanted to build her career with the Empire, and he saw the Empire for what it was
Hmm.
and said, "No, I can't go along,
Yeah,
with you."
potentially like an ideological split
I
instead of
think that's
anything
what
else.
exactly what we're looking at with those
Yep,
two. Yeah,
I
yeah.
think that's a very
And
possible
we
thing.
don't need to get that explanation. That's another one of those things we can.
The audience can infer that.
Yeah,
We can
exactly.
infer that.
We can
I
infer
think that's what
that.
we're here for at
Right,
this point. So,
exactly.
but
But he does the best he can under the
mhm.
circumstances. He seems like he's a well-behaved kid. It's not like he's a problem kid or anything.
Nope.
So that helps.
Actually, yeah, the sport that Riley's playing, that racket that he's holding in the
That
sport is
plate.
actually clipped in Phantom Menace in Anakin's hut with Shmi.
Oh my God, you scooped me. I'm gonna have to look for that the next time I watch Phantom
Yeah,
Menace.
it is in there. Like the little scooped racket or whatever
Yeah,
thing is actually in the
yeah,
background
and
there
I'm
of Phantom
guessing I
Menace.
don't know if we actually saw them playing it, but based on the way that racket looks, it reminds me of what is that sport? I don't know if you have it down at your university or not.
No, if it
You
is, it's an
know,
intramural. But I
yeah,
know what you're
you know
talking
the
about, and
sport
I'm
I'm
forgetting the
talking about,
name.
though. It's quite
But
popular actually at
yeah,
the
it
big
is.
colleges.
So
Yeah, yeah, but yeah,
yeah.
I cannot think of the name of that sport. Anyway, so Lawson obviously does everything he can to protect Riley. I mean, he's hesitant to take these two Jedi in. Riley brings him brings him home with him. Hey Dad, we
Yeah,
got
kind of
gas.
ridiculous, right? Right.
Yeah,
Because I
hey
mean,
Dad, guess who's coming to
his son's
dinner?
obviously naive to the situation too. Like, I mean, him
Yes.
Riley and Two Boots are actually in a very similar situation, I would say, regardless of them being in different roles. They're very naive of what the Empire is doing there, right?
Right.
And how either Riley's dad or Captain Lawson, whatever, um, is really involved with it, right? But he's obviously quite involved with it in a negative way, but they don't realize that until it's far too late.
Yeah.
Um,
Huh.
right. But no, I mean, you were saying too, Captain Lawson, his situation with him being like single dad in Star Wars, trying to do that more often, like they depicted him in a tough circumstance that I wouldn't say is all that unrealistic either. Right? There's a lot of branches of X company or whatever in the real world that try to spend a lot less time referring to their government as well and trying to keep things as in house as they can. Right? That's how things usually go. But this in this case, it's a bureau of criminal investigations in tandem with the Empire, right? But they're framing it in a different way, and obviously now that the Empire's here, it's an oppressive, you know, situation that they're stuck into. But anyway, it's just another one of those common like real world tropes that this show's done a really good job of integrating into its network. That you would see in the real world, and it's a real problem that a lot of people struggle with. Albeit it's not nearly as serious as the Empire coming in, I would probably say, because you're not getting hunted by Inquisitors as a result of getting stepped on, maybe. But anyway, there's just more food for thought there for sure.
Yeah.
But,
So we'll just finish up Lawson's story arc. Obviously, it looked like in the 10th episode today. Did I remind everyone we're going into spoilers?
mm,
I believe I did. So
you did. Yep.
if you didn't watch and you're continuing, if you didn't watch the show and you're continuing to watch this, it's your fault. So I mean, it looks like his dad died today,
It
in the
did.
last episode.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah. The way they were shooting at him there, while
Yeah.
they're
Now,
trying
granted,
to
we didn't even see it, but like
get
they his kid's reaction to it obviously is
he
dastardly,
knew.
right? It's he definitely knew, right? He also got shot twice, I think, before he even went into that smoke screen. So I
Right.
think that was just their way of like inferring it without necessarily having to show it, which is
Yeah.
fine by me, right? But obviously, I mean, I had a sneaky suspicion that was going to happen actually. He got himself in so many sticky situations and managed to get out of them so well that I figured there was going to be one at one point he was going to try to save his kid or do something that was not going to go to plan because there were a lot of things that were very up against everybody. And he's not like a force user or anything, so he doesn't really have any particular skill outside of his own wit to outperform anybody really. Um,
Right.
so I didn't necessarily expect him to die, but I expected something was gonna happen to that group of people, and that just so happened to be what happened in
Yeah,
the
we
final
had a couple
episode.
of, we'll
But
talk about the second one later. Uh, but well, you want to go into that right now then? Because we had the second. Do you want to talk about who showed up in the ninth episode? You
we
want
can bring that up. Yeah.
you want
So
to
I
bring
mean,
that up now?
we
You go for it.
we
This
can
is
start with the Inquisitors maybe at the beginning. I
all
think it
right. Let's
makes
do
more sense to
That's
to, to
right. Let's do
ramp
the
up.
Inquisitors. Let's do the. So
Yeah.
we got
So
some nice connections here with two Inquisitors that we've seen before.
seen before, right? And so yeah, starting off with the first Inquisitor we see, and it's really with the introduction of the Empire. So around episode, I think 4 is when the Empire gets called in, I
That's right.
think. So
Yeah, right at the end.
episode 4 gets the Empire involved, right? And at that point, they also dispatch their first Inquisitor, and it's Marok. We've seen him before.
It's in Ahsoka.
To my knowledge, he's the first brother. But yeah,
Okay.
we saw him in Ahsoka. We didn't really know who he was until Ahsoka ends up taking him out and finds out that he is a night witchified resurrected being, right? Because he ends up getting
Right.
um I think slashed in the stomach and shrivels up and spews out green dust like everybody
Yeah, the
else
green
that's
gobbledygook comes
been
out of him. Yeah.
right, yeah, the Star Wars magic, whatever you want to call that, right?
Yeah.
But that stuff, right? So leading everybody to assume that Marok was an already dead but then reanimated um Inquisitor to help out with bringing the Thrawn back, right?
Yeah.
The whole Ahsoka plot, essentially, right? Um, so Marok comes here, but he's alive at this point. I'm assuming he's not reanimated, right? Because there's really no reason for him to be that way. I'm assuming he's actually like alive and well. He has also said words, and I don't think he said words in Ahsoka. I think he was totally mute. from what I remember. I don't think he said anything,
I
but
could
I
look
might
it
be
up.
incorrect about that.
If he
But
said anything, it wasn't much.
right, and I'm assuming most reanimated, even Night Sisters in like from the Dathomirian like magic is they don't talk. So
Yeah,
I'm assuming this is the
like
same.
zombies.
Yeah, I'm assuming this is the same way. So I don't remember hearing Marok say
Yeah,
anything in
probably
Ahsoka,
did.
but he did and has said things in this show. So I'm
Yeah,
assuming he's a totally animate, alive person, former Jedi turned into Inquisitor or whatever.
he
But
was
so
a
we see
guy.
him, he's quite he's quite relentless. He's quite the hunter.
Is
Um, right? Because we didn't get to see him really very much in Ahsoka. We got to see him as a as a workhorse, really, to be able to get stuff done and help help move that mission along, but we didn't get to see his like true wit and what made him smart.
right.
But he does look like he's quite the hunter. Like he's got quite an eyesight on him. Like he just has an intuition about him that makes him a good inquisitor, right? But it's this isn't the side we got to see when we were in Ahsoka. So
He's the
cool to
dark.
see him back.
He's the dark side version of Hunter from Bad Batch.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, because he tracked him down. He gathered his clues. He had a couple good fights there by himself when he was trying
Yeah.
to hunt him down. A couple of first seedlings with Maul and Devin getting them networked out. Marok unintentionally helped fund that bond a little bit more deeply by creating a common enemy in himself, obviously. But regardless, Marok showed some solid movement. He's a good fighter. He's a good hunter, and he did a good job as an inquisitor and provided quite a strong foe at the beginning. Um, Scaling up from that though, then we get the introduction of the 11th brother, or what people have been calling the Crow, because he has a crow
Right.
face essentially. Um, and we this is the first time we've got to see him in serious action, because the only other time we got to see him was in Tales of the Jedi with the Ahsoka arc,
That's
right?
right.
And he didn't put up much of nothing. In fact, he
Oh,
got killed pretty quick. And there was a lot of people, including myself, that were like, I don't know who this Inquisitor really is, so I'm not sure like how impressive that feat was with Ahsoka, like
really?
him getting kicked out of the game so quickly. Um,
Was this
but
guy
now that
really qualified for this job?
yeah, I was like, I don't know who this guy is or if he deserves to be in this position at
Yeah.
all. But now that I've seen him here, he was referenced as Marok's first go-to. So I'm assuming he's quite a
Yeah.
good inquisitor, right? And judging by the fights we both saw when we were watching the show, he's quite, also a good fighter. He does a good job of his skill. So the only thing I can amount his failure to in fighting Ahsoka, and the common denominator between the both of these Inquisitors, is that they were defeated by Ahsoka at the end of the day,
Yeah.
um, was that they both overestimated their own abilities in comparison to
That's
Ahsoka,
right.
right?
That is amazing. I didn't think of that. Ahsoka took out both of those
Both.
Inquisitors that showed up in this show were taken out by Ahsoka.
Yep. At least, I mean, like reanimated Marok, I guess. I don't know who took him out in the first place, but regardless, like Ahsoka did take out the
I think that
reanimated one.
fall, I think when and we're going into something else we haven't talked about today, but I think when he fell today after Devin pushed him, force pushed him, and he fell, that was my immediate thought. I said that's where he died, and then he must have got found and
Maybe. No, it's very
reanimated.
possible,
I think that's what killed
right?
him that
Because
fall today.
it could very well have been, right? Because the his armor when he was in Ahsoka wasn't damaged at all. So
Yeah.
it's possible that he died in that armor, and then yeah, somebody found him again and reanimated him. Just because knowing he was on Janix or something. But yeah, so regardless, like Ahsoka's quite the stellar fighter, it would seem. But I think the issue with both those Inquisitors is that they knew that they were going up against Maul and two other Jedi. They were on their A game, so they hit them really hard and fought them really well. But when they went up against Ahsoka didn't even have lightsabers against the 11th brother. So I think he went at it way too less hard. Like he needed to go a lot more difficult in this fight, and he didn't care about it at all. And then he got essentially. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. And then for Marok, I don't even know what he was doing being reanimated. I'm not even sure he was all up to stuff again anyway. But But yeah, I mean they were both quite formidable foes in Ahsoka or in this show. I mean in Maul Shadow Lord, they did a good job
Oh,
of
definitely.
being strong inquisitors, being strong antagonists,
Yeah.
challenging really all of our main characters really, and being good hunters the entire way through. But leading into the big reveal, right,
All
in
right.
episode 9 today,
Oh
um,
boy.
right? So we hear we see some smoke after close to the end of the episode. I actually checked the time on it because I was like, I wonder what the reveal is going to be here at the end because you had hinted to me that there was something crazy
Yeah.
coming up. And
Yeah.
I looked at my time and I'm like, I got 4 minutes left on this episode. I don't know what they could possibly show me in the next 2 minutes before the
Is
credits
Uncle is,
inevitably roll.
is Uncle Gary having visions,
Yeah, I thought
hallucinations? What's going
I was
on
wondering. I knew you
here?
weren't leading me astray, but I had to second guess my situation, right? So
Right.
they pull up out of a pretty tense fight actually that
Yeah.
ends up taking out a lot of Maul's collective.
Oh, I think he lost everybody.
And pretty much everybody, if not
Yeah.
everybody, right? I think
Yeah.
so. So it's pretty devastating, right? And then he comes up again. Everybody comes up against like a smoke screen essentially, and you just hear breathing. You just
Yeah. The breathing.
you hear the iconic breathing, and I'm like, oh my gosh! And
Yeah.
then walks in Darth Vader, and I'm like, oh my gosh, we just got
Cut the
something
black and then cut the
unbelievable.
black. Yeah.
Cut the black, right? And then he goes through and we get a lot more of him in episode 10, really showing his strength,
Right.
right? And
He doesn't say
I
anything.
no, he doesn't say anything. And I'm not sure. I was expecting him to say something, even if it was just something small.
Yeah.
But I'm not disappointed, obviously, with how the way that they handled it. I think
No.
they did a good job
His
of it.
actions,
I
everything.
was just wondering if there's anything for him to say, but
No, there.
obviously like not anything crazy, but um I mean I mentioned before like I liked how much the Inquisitors were fighting, but Vader took the cake. I mean, he doesn't need to be flashy to get his job done. The Inquisitors are very flashy. They have spinny light swords or whatever that are that are kicking butt, not taking names, right? But
Helicopter.
it's very high tech, right? Yeah, the
Yeah.
helicopter, right? Whatever,
Yeah.
right? But it's super out there, very high tech, and honestly, like, um, it makes sense because they're not as strong with the Force as Vader is, obviously, because obviously Vader's the chosen one. He's got a lot of
Right.
midichlorians that are, pushing him through, but his ability to keep the fight with three foes at him with only one lightsaber
Yeah.
was quite something. But he used the Force so much more than
Yeah.
every other Inquisitor would ever do,
That's right.
right? So it was insane. It was good to see my boy back in action.
There you go. And we got
But
hinted we were going to see something because one of the was it Maroc or was it the 11th brother who contacted someone? You just saw like the bottom of the cape, and
mm.
I thought it was Palpatine, to be honest.
I thought that was Marat contacting the 11th brother actually.
Oh, okay, all right, maybe that was
I think he was contacting for an
that would have
assist.
been a possibility. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, because we saw the cape, like the cloak of the hood, right? And the 11th brother does have quite a hood,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
Because
yeah,
a lot of people thought it wasn't going to be Vader because it was like a hooded cloak, right? In the whichever episode that might have been episode 6 now,
yeah, 6 or 7.
where that was the case.
Yeah,
Um, but so they knew it wasn't Vader because of the cloak. Everybody thought it was going to be Palpatine. But now that the 11th brother showed up and he has a cloak that looks very similar, I'm like 99% sure that's who he's contacting. Pretty
oh,
sure.
okay,
But so I don't know when they contacted Vader. I have no clue, right? But
yeah,
I know you're right. When at the ninth episode, right before they were about to leave into that like smoky area, they were like, yeah, they're running right into him. That's basically what they said. They were like, yeah, he's on the other side waiting for him. And I was like, oh, okay, I know who. Vaguely, I had a feeling it was going to be Vader at that point.
yeah,
I was pretty sure.
yeah.
Um, yeah, I mean, or somebody, right? Or it was either that or it was going to be like the Grand Inquisitor or like something else who has
Could have been him
like
too. Yeah,
clout, like really strong Imperial clout. That's good Jedi killer, um, type thing, right?
right,
But anyway, I was very like
exactly.
happy with the last two episodes today because they had a ton of action, but they also
Yeah,
didn't have any fear to take out characters that I thought were going to get taken out a lot sooner in the show.
yeah,
Like I was 90% sure Devon's master was going to get taken out way sooner than this, actually.
I just I just have to say his name.
Yeah,
Eco
go for it.
Eco Diodaki.
Yeah.
It's
I
fun to say.
think I think Maul always referred to him as Master Diodaki and just said that
Oh, maybe,
usually.
yeah, Master
I
Diodaki.
think or Master Daki or something. I think it was
Master,
like
yeah,
that.
yeah,
But anyway, it was very abbreviated. They didn't say it every time. That's for sure.
yeah,
But no, I mean, in the final episodes, and once again, spoiler warning here. Like, I
yeah.
mean, we saw Captain Lawson get taken out. Obviously, we mentioned that before. But yeah, we also saw Vader taking out Master Daki. Right, he met
I knew
the
he was
demise from
gonna.
Vader.
I knew he was gonna go before the end of
At
the.
some point this season, he had to, right? Because Devin,
Yeah,
like with all of the buildup with Devin being Maul's apprentice, I knew
yeah.
that that was going to happen. It just had to, right? But the only way for that to happen is if you remove the common denominator with her being a Jedi, and that is her master,
Right.
right? So, and with obviously all of Maul's seduction, a very easy fall to the dark side when she had enough reason to feel like that was something that was easy for her to do, right? I mean, she saw two pretty big losses that day, and I think that was the only thing she needed to see to trigger that for
And
sure.
Maul engineered that too because he said he's telling Master Daki, "Oh yeah, yeah, I'll stick with you here and we'll fight him together," meaning Vader. We'll fight him together. And then when he
Hmm.
got the opportunity, he beat feet out of there. And I
He
think
did.
that was, he knew that Devin was going to see him, her master get killed, and that was going to drive her towards him.
Yep. No, it definitely did.
Yeah.
The other thing too that I thought about this is Vader got a couple hits off on Maul. He got his legs a couple times, right?
Maul can't keep his
Um,
legs working properly.
no, and I was gonna say this too, but like okay, assume he didn't have robotic legs. He had regular legs right now, right? During this fight, he would have been in way more of a disadvantage. Like it's almost good in some ways
In
that he
some
has
ways.
this prosthetic. Because I think
Yeah.
if that was his real leg, Vader would have just killed him right there, and he wouldn't have been as merciful as whatever happened to him. I mean, I'm not saying his Clone Wars defeat or whatever was merciful. He got cut in half, but like he lived, right? But Vader would have made sure he didn't, right? So it's like I don't know. There's a silver lining to be robotic. Um, but I mean,
Yeah, could
obviously
have
too,
been
we
an
we could
advantage
talk
for him.
about this.
Could
Yeah,
have been.
I think it was actually because
Yeah.
it's the only thing that allowed him to continue to go away, and he can get
Right.
repaired later. So it's not like he's in
Right.
a terribly abysmal spot, right? But anyway, no, you're right. He did engineer that whole situation to ensure that Devon's master, Master Daki, was taken out of the fight for good, and obviously even more impactful that Devon saw it happen because she went to go rescue him and then saw the actual like killing blow. So yeah, I mean like on in Maul's behalf, we could talk about this more later too, like the engineering of his connection with Devon um was quite well done in this show, I think, and it really shows the connection between master and apprentice and why like that rule of two situation is so
Yeah, he picked her out right from the
important.
start. I mean,
He did.
it was like the second episode. She was in, like I
Yep.
mentioned earlier, she was in her, they had her in a prison cell for,
Yep.
a minor,
Yeah,
she
like
was some
fruit theft
fruit
was
off, like,
minor. Yeah.
selling fruit on the street there. And
Yep.
he immediately, I mean, he obviously can sense, they can sense when they're in the presence of somebody else who has force abilities. And,
Yep.
you know, picked her out right off the bat. So
Yep.
yeah,
Possibly as a weak or moldable mind in some way, shape, or form. I'm wondering if that's
she's
how that
still
happened,
young.
but
Yeah, she's still young. I
yep.
don't think
No,
she's any
100
more than,
100%.
you know, uh, probably she's about Riley's age. I think Riley's got a little thing for her too.
Yeah, I'd say so. Am I still hearable, by the way? I just put one of my AirPods away just for a second.
I can still
So
hear you.
can
Yeah,
charge. Good.
yeah,
Just making sure.
yeah.
But
We're
no, I
good
mean,
to go.
good. Cool.
Yeah,
But yeah, no, I think the way that they handled the Inquisitors this season and honestly having the counters
yeah.
to the Jedi and to Maul created a really strong presence um of the Empire. I mean, like this is something we got to see a lot in Rebels too, with strong Inquisitor presence and good hunters, but with the grand climax too of also being a Vader show up at the end of Rebels as well.
Right,
So he's just there for everything. Season two of Rebels anyway. But
right.
but yeah, like regardless, Vader's always the big bad when the Inquisitors can't get the job done. So it was very fitting for him to show face again
Yeah.
and show up and actually get the job done. I mean, they did a pretty good job of cleaning up our crew, unfortunately. But I'm eager to see how that pushes them into season two. I think there might be a little bit of a time skip. I don't know how, like, if that was planned or not, but just judging on their state, I
Yeah.
feel like it makes sense if there is one, just a little one.
I still
But
feel like, and there's going to have to be a time skip because I looked it up. We're still, when this takes place, I think we're still 2 or 3 years away from Kira getting off Corellia.
yeah,
She's still on, at this point, she's still on Corellia with Han,
yep,
working for Lady Proxima, and I think they call them the White Worm Gang.
yep. If
And
I had to guess,
yeah,
right, this situation with Maul was our way to see him essentially crawling out of the gutter again, right? He
right.
just got abandoned by a bunch of groups that he had since partnered up with to take over
Yeah.
Mandalore and recapture the
Palpatine
Prime
abandoned
Syndicate.
him. Yeah.
Right. So they went through and abandoned him. But now this entire season was him getting back into leagues with all of these groups, showing his force, gaining an apprentice, and evading the Empire. Right.
That's right.
But now that we know that he is now in league with Dryden Voss, right? And we could talk about this more obviously too. But like Crimson Dawn has another leader that is not Dryden.
We don't
And
know who
he's
it is.
and he's orchestrating Maul taking out his master in exchange for this pickup, right? In the final episode,
Right.
right? But I don't know if we're going to see that assassination or whatever on screen. I'm pretty sure we're not actually. I'm 90% sure,
Okay.
right?
Okay.
Because I think what they're going to do is they're going to time skip us a little bit, kind of like what they do with Andor, where they skip like a year every once in a while. We
Yeah.
miss some details, but we know what happened technically,
Right. Right.
right?
It's
So
mentioned
I don't
or
think they're going to show us that. I think we're going to come back and Maul is going to be a lot more developed. We're going to be in the middle of training Devon, and Maul is going to be a lot closer with Crimson Dawn now because I think we're going to
yeah.
already know that he already did his part of the deal and is in league with them. We're going to see him more in line with the Pikes. And I think as a result of that, we're going to see him with a bigger crew because now he doesn't have one, right? I personally think if they give us
Nobody.
a time skip and bring us into a prime Lord Maul where he has redeemed
Right.
those relationships and is now in the middle of training Devon, then we can move into that time frame where he gets, cast aside again and abandoned again, and then that's where he finds himself with
That's
Ezra.
right. That's right.
So I'm not sure if that's what they're gonna do, but I think
Yeah,
for
we
the
don't know.
sake of pacing, if they're only making a second season, not a third, right? I mean, obviously we don't even know that,
We
but
don't
like
know
assuming
that
that they
either.
end with the
Yeah.
second and not making another one, that's I think what they would have to do. But if they are making a second and their plans is to make a third, something we don't know, then they can obviously not do a time skip and do a bunch of stuff in between it and do whatever. But
Right.
I think for the sake of like the show's pacing and timing, that like future makes a lot of sense. So I don't know. That's just my 2 cents on it. But I think it would be pretty cool
I think
to
doing a third
jump
season,
ahead.
not saying they should or will, but I think doing a third season would give them more wiggle room
It
to
would, because
do
they
the
wouldn't have to do that time skip. They could
yeah,
show it, right? And there's a number of viewership, like we said before, too, that's really interested in seeing this part of Star Wars, I think. So not skipping out on it would
you and I
be
have
would be to
talked
their
about.
benefit. So I think that's a missed opportunity if they potentially don't make more than just two. But if they do stick with two, I think that's probably what they'd have to do just for
I
the
think
sake
you're
of
right.
timing and making it
Yeah.
make sense. But we'll see. We'll see. There's a lot of opportunity, but no, I think, done very, very well. And one other thing, I'm going to go back to the Inquisitors for a second because I forgot to mention
And
this.
I
But
want to go backward too, but you do yours first.
yeah, so Marak, when he was, both of the Inquisitors were also heavily interrogative. They were involved in the interrogating
Right.
process. But Marak had an ability that I can't remember the name of. But it was something along the lines of being able to like read people's, oh, it was like telepathy of some kind. But it was something that a lot of force sensitive people don't have.
Okay.
I can't remember the name of it, but anyway, when he was doing his interrogating, it was something that was very prevalent. I'd have to review it again, but um,
Right.
but yeah, Marat's got a very interesting set of abilities that it makes me also wonder who's underneath that mask because we don't really know. But anyway,
Yeah.
just a
Yeah.
thought.
So
But
was he the guy, what I want to go back to, and it might tie into this, was he the one, or was it the 11th brother who, because I want to talk about my favorite scene in this entire show, and that
Mhm.
was that was Maul's visions of his past.
I did like
That was
that.
in episode 8. Was that Marok that kicked that off? He kind of connected with him, I think. I think that's
I
how
think
that
so.
worked.
I'm like nine. Yeah, I'm pretty
That might
sure
be the
that's what
same
happened.
ability you're talking about, or it's
Yeah, I
connected.
think so too.
Yeah, and Maul had all of these visions. It's like, you know, he's got a he's beat up. His legs are that was the first time his leg got messed up.
Yeah, and then it continued to be
And
a trend for the rest of the show.
yeah, and it's like he's got to relive his pain again so that, like you said earlier, he can rise up out of the sewer again.
Yep.
And I mean he relives all this stuff from, Palpatine discovering him to he's training him and he doesn't like the way he's swinging his lightsaber, so he force light hits him with the force lightning.
Yep.
Being separated from Savage and then seeing Savage get killed, we obviously had seen those things before, but we saw it from a different perspective this time.
Mhm.
I thought that was an interesting little sequence they did.
No, it was really good because and that
Yeah,
was episode 8, I think,
that was the
right?
eighth episode. Yes.
Yeah, that was a really good way of ending that because there was really no insane, intense like fight scenes in that episode. They had all happened episode 7,
Right.
right? The entirety of episode 8 revolved around the background or the aftermath essentially. But
Yes.
it was by far the most emotional sequence in the show because it really connected to us to a part of Maul that we never got to see. Because I mean, in the Phantom Menace, Maul is painted as a very vicious, he's a fighter. I mean, that's what his breed is to do too. That's what Dathomirians do, or Zabraks do, right? They're all very, fighting culture. That's how Savage even got selected to be in a assassin for Dooku. Even was to go through a fighting duel, like a torment,
Right.
or like an entire sequence of challenges, right? So that's what their breed is meant to do, or their species is meant to do. So to be able to see him in a more like I don't know, a more like he was what's the word I'm missing here? Sort of a V. Anyway,
He was vulnerable
um,
in that moment.
vulnerable. There we go. Yeah, he's more vulnerable,
There
right?
you go.
To be able to see him in a vulnerable state that
Yeah.
isn't just him
Yeah.
being, aggressive and violent. Like you get to see exactly what turned him into that kind of a creature, right?
Right.
And it's the lack of forgiveness from Palpatine because Palpatine punished him for bad things, right? Obviously, we saw it, right? It's the pain that he had from losing his brother. It's the pain that he had from losing to Kenobi. It's the pain that he had to losing his brother again when he got killed by Sidious, right? So there's a number of things that have made Maul a sympathetic character and people that a character that people have resonated with quite a lot since his rather underwhelming defeat against Kenobi and then nothing else. So like him getting reintroduced in the Clone Wars was a huge thing for everybody, and it was a huge thing
Oh
for me
yeah.
too, right? But then being able to go into his character even more in this show and see him in an even more vulnerable state, like it just makes him a lot more sympathetic because you know what his end goal is. He wants to take out the Empire, right? His goal is to get back at his master for all of the torment that he's caused him throughout his life. And whether that be through getting Devin as an apprentice or going through and making a shadow collective and trying to usurp the control of the galaxy, like that's just what he does. But you can if you see it through his eyes in that way, it's a lot more of a noble quest, even though it is criminal and
Yeah.
also violent. But anyway, just it makes you resonate more with the guy, I
Yep.
think.
Yep. Absolutely. Absolutely.
But,
So I don't know. I think we hit all the high points. I know that was kind of a short and sweet review of the show, but
sure. There's one other thing I wanted to mention too,
I was just
actually.
going to ask you, go ahead and bring up
Yeah,
anything.
I wanted to mention the connection between him and Devin a little bit more.
Yeah,
So
okay, let's go there.
technically, so I know in Legends there is a Maul's apprentice in Legends is Darth Talon, I think, right?
I don't remember,
And
but I'll try,
she
I'll trust you on that. Yeah.
anyway, yeah. So she's got the same markings that a Zabrak would have, but I believe they're artificial, right?
That's right. Isn't she
But
Twilight?
she's Twilight, right? But the thing
Yeah.
is so is Devin. So it's a very funny connection to me because I'm thinking that they took inspiration of who Maul's apprentice should be based on what the legends had and made Devin a reality. Now,
Could
I don't
Devin,
think Devin is going to take on those markings
I
necessarily,
was just going to
but they
ask you that.
but she might. But the thing is they've definitely taken inspiration from that content to
Oh
make
yeah.
Devin
Oh yeah.
into that apprentice. Like there's a specific reason why she's a Twi'lek, and I think it's that,
I
or
think you're
why,
right.
you know what I mean. So that was one thing too. But like the slowly but steady, and we've said this already too, but like the slow burn of making her trust him a lot more and feed into her rage and whatnot. Like she is definitely his apprentice now. And like the stuff that she said in episode 10 with the I'm ready to start, like I need to figure this out because I want these people to pay. Like I'm curious to see where this is going to go. Right. And I do think that Devin has the potential to become what Legends Talon really was.
Right.
I don't know much about Talon's character from Legends, but it is something that I've looked at a little bit more since this show because it is a lot more of a prevalent point, I think, now because it's coming to fruition instead of just being a fake thing that nobody knew anything about. Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, and obviously depending on the circumstances of how the training goes and everything, I've seen a lot of people speculating as well, and it could be a possibility that the abandonment of Maul the second time, Devin may play a huge hand in that, right? If Devin becomes somebody who maybe begins to trust Maul even less now because of some action or of some issue that they have with each other, it
Right.
might be that Devin chooses to help abandon him, and that's where he finds Ezra and stuff like that. So
Yeah, he's
I,
always a
I'm
front
interested to
runner.
see what her place in this is because she is obviously this is the first time we've seen her character. So there's really quite an endless possibility list of where she's going to go. But
Mm.
it's either, you know, she's not clearly involved in the syndicates as far as I'm concerned, but we don't really know much about the syndicates after Maul leaves them, really.
No, we don't. No, we
So it could
talk
very
about
well be a possibility that she takes them over and we don't know much about that, or she dies, or she becomes a recluse and doesn't go anywhere. Like
that.
who
She
knows? But
comes
like
back and goes to the path or something.
who
Who knows?
knows?
We don't know.
Right? But there's a number of possibilities with Devon, but I do think one of them is very possibly being a retcon to what people would normally call Darth Talon in Legends. So it's something to bring up, I guess, just to see if that's what
Yeah.
happens. But who knows?
Yeah.
But yeah. Anyway, no, I really like their arc. I like the way that things were done with that.
Yeah.
Um, there's a lot of moments where Maul got Master Daki away from her, and that's exactly what it
That was the
transpired
plan.
in, right?
Yeah.
That was exactly what the plan was. And
Yeah.
as
That's
much as it
exactly.
wasn't, I mean, he gave her a lot of liberty too, right? There's a lot of him giving wisdom and his perspective, and then also being like, oh, well, you could have left this jail cell anytime, but know that you're not free. He would give that piece of advice. He'd say, you can be free from me, but you're not free from them. So we need to do this together, right? So that was a very like repeatable thing. He said that a lot, but he said that in a lot of different ways and under a lot of different circumstances. But at some point, and after the death of her master, that began to sink in quite heavily, and obviously led to her turning. So, but no, I really like the way that was handled
Yeah.
in the show for sure.
I think the last thing I'm going to say about Maul Shadow Lord, and we got this in toward the end of the Clone Wars there too. Just that whole pairing of Ray Park, who does the motion capture
Yep.
now, he's a martial arts specialist, and Sam Witwer doing the voice is
Mhm.
just, you don't get any better than that.
Nope. Nope. They
But
did such a good job.
that's right. But there was another actor who played Darth Maul some years ago.
Mhm.
And so I'm going to go into a screen share here. It was about 16 or so years ago. There was another young actor who played Darth Maul. Are you seeing this?
Oh my gosh, that's crazy. I forgot about that. Oh my
So
goodness,
this was
really bringing it
Halloween.
back.
This was Halloween 2009. And there's 6-year-old Jacob as Darth Maul.
Yep.
I don't know who that ass clown is next to him. No
Nope.
idea. I don't recognize him at all. I think that's my evil twin, and I destroyed him because he was such a numbnuts. But
Must have,
anyway,
must have.
there you go, right there. There's
Oh my goodness.
there's Jacob and me, and I
Well, we had quite the duel after that, if you recall.
well.
Oh, you going into that?
Oh, baby, you betcha.
This is the first time I'm seeing this, by the way.
This is the only other one. here we are out in my backyard dueling,
Oh my
and
gosh.
a lot of people commented that it looked like it was out of Star Wars because that building in the background is really weird looking. There's actually a
Yeah.
starch factory. There's a starch factory next to me, and
Neat.
it's like this real weird looking building. And a lot of people commented how um, that looks like it's right out of Star Wars. And I don't know if you remember this, Jacob, or not. So you've got your Darth Maul lightsaber there. I don't know
Yeah.
if you remember this or not. We were out there dueling. And I did not intend for this to happen at all, but I hit your lightsaber right down the center and I broke it in half, just like Obi-Wan did in The Phantom Menace.
Oh,
Do you remember
I
that?
vaguely actually, yeah, I do kind
Yeah,
of remember something
I
like that.
broke your poor lightsaber.
I can't remember the details because I mean, obviously, I was pretty
You were
young here.
six
Like I
years
was,
old, for God's sake.
yeah, yeah, but like I do remember something happening with a lightsaber that like malfunctioned. Like something was up,
Well,
right? I do remember that.
I hit it like, and I didn't intend to break it, but I hit it like Obi-Wan hit Maul's in The Phantom Menace, and it broke in half like Maul's did.
Oh my
And
gosh,
and
straight
and
out of the movie,
And you,
cinematic.
and yeah, and you looked at me like this, like, whoa, that was cool,
Yeah,
you
that was
know,
cool.
like that. And
Holy cow.
I bring this up because I want everyone, if you could, in the comments, this young man is graduating from university this Saturday. He has worked his butt off uh, to be the best student he possibly could be. I don't, do you know where you're graduating? Do you know where you are in your hierarchy in your graduating class or yet? Or
Oh, I mean, I'm not necessarily valedictorian, but I mean, I've been inducted into a
but
number of honor
you're
societies
up
with my
there.
grades and
Yeah, yeah.
whatnot, so I do pretty well. Yeah,
If you were watching this, I want everyone to drop a congratulations to Jacob down the comments, please. He deserves it. He's worked hard. We won't say specifically where you're headed, but you already got a job lined up.
I do. Yep,
You're headed
yep.
away probably at the
Very
end.
frugal degree that I've been able to get myself
Yeah,
into. So,
yeah.
yeah, very nice.
So drop
Yeah,
a
I appreciate that.
congratulations, Jacob, please, in the comments if you would. And I'm sure he especially, but we both would appreciate it. I'm going to stop
Yeah,
the share for now because we're
sure.
now going to launch into talking about the Mandalorian Grogu, but I'm gonna switch backgrounds. I'm gonna see if I can remember how to do this. I
Sure.
tested it earlier
I'm
today.
sticking with Maul for those wondering,
Yeah,
but
sure.
we'll have a dichotomy here of background screens.
That's right. That's right. Let me see if I can find the one I was looking for here. I think this is it. Yeah, here we go. There we go. So I've switched
Boom.
backgrounds now.
That's a good background,
That's
actually.
a good background, isn't it, huh? Yep,
That's very
yep.
nice.
All right. So I'm going to start the share again because we have
Sure.
screenshots
Mhm.
as we go ahead to start discussing the Mandalorian and Grogu. I got about 20 of them here. Um, and so we will, there we go. That looked a little weird when I did it. I hope you see it.
Nope, looks good on my end. Everything's good.
All right. So here's Grogu. He's still touching buttons in the I guess this is the new Razor Crest.
Yeah, the new
Uh,
Razor Crest. We commented on this last time. I'm still curious to see what's going on with that. Because
yeah, that's
we,
right.
as far as I know, that last Razor Crest was still evaporated from the
Yeah, yeah,
from its formal glory. Um, but yeah, so it's good
yeah.
to see the kids still curious
Din,
with
Din,
everything.
Din
But
tells him, no, don't touch the buttons. He buckles him back into his seat. Speaking of the Razor
yep,
Crest, this is a much better view of it than
it is very
we did on
shiny.
our last show. This is they're taking off for somewhere. This could be. I was thinking this could be, or actually, it just occurred to me. The New Republic facility where Mando meets up with Colonel Ward.
Yeah, I think it is actually. I think we've seen this before.
Yeah, I
I
think we
thought.
have too, and
I'm pretty sure in either one of the previous Mando seasons or like Book of Boba Fett or something, this is shown.
we may have seen this. Yes,
But I
yeah,
might be wrong.
yeah. I'm not
But
sure, and you are more likely you're right. You seem more observant of that sort of thing than I am.
maybe. I don't know. But I'm
It
like
takes me a few
90% sure this is
watchings.
New Republic.
Yeah, it
But
takes me a few
anyway, I
watchings.
mean, and we know Din has to go there anyway because even in the first
Yeah, yeah.
excuse me, in the first trailer, he's shown doing that.
Yeah, she sends
So
him off on his little mission there that she wants him to go off on. So we're gonna zip through these pretty quick, I think, and just talk briefly. I believe this is we had a screenshot last episode of Din having that fight with somebody in that bar.
Yep.
I think
Yep.
this is that bar. I think this is that bar. So here's an Ardennian. We haven't seen an Ardennian since Rio showed up in Solo. We know this isn't Rio because he died.
Yep.
So this is an Ardennian. Din asks him he needs some information, and this Ardennian seems agreeable at first. Sure, whatever might cost you and
Uh,
whatnot. And Din says to him something to the effect of, "I need some information on Hot." And the Ardennian shuts the thing and says, "Oh, we're closed for business. Sorry."
yep. Yep. Still seems like the Huts have quite a galaxy influence when it comes to terror and whatnot, which is it's crazy. I
Yeah,
mean, we just talked about a bunch of underworld stuff with Maul, but like this is gonna I mean, it looks like this movie's gonna be delving quite deeply into that kind of stuff too,
it
even with just the
is.
Huts and the way that they run their stuff. Because I mean, that's a crime family through and through. There's no other way to label it. So pretty cool for
Yeah,
sure. Be able to see
yeah,
that again.
absolutely. Yeah, yeah. So a nice little callback there. We get to see another Ardennian. I think they're cool. If you got 4 arms,
Yeah.
what's ain't cooler than that,
Would be a
right?
very productive fellow with forearms,
Oh
I would
God,
say.
you get your work done, no problem at all.
No
So
kidding.
Din finds some huts. These are the twins that showed up in Book of Boba Fett.
Yes,
So
yes.
they're still alive.
So yeah, small world, being able to see them again. But um, I'm not terribly sure too exactly what ends up bringing him to this area.
I
I'm
don't
assuming
either.
it has something to do with that New Republic quest he or journey or something that he gets. Because I'm assuming we haven't been told anything necessarily about what brings him out to this
Yeah,
spot.
I think the hut he's looking
So,
for is Rada.
oh, I think so too. Yeah, I'm like
We'll see
90%
that here a
sure,
little
but
bit later. I got a screenshot with him later.
yeah.
So
But anyway, he's got the kid strapped on his back too.
he
He's
does.
he's
Yeah, yeah. He's
lingering. He's
making
got a lot
sure.
more faith in his abilities now, it would seem, than to let him be, held back. He seems like
I
he's
think so.
front and center.
So this is that Imperial facility. We talked about that last episode. I think this is in that Imperial facility. This is right before this scene. This guy says something about long live the Empire. And this is kind of like that council, I think, that we saw in the third
Yeah,
season of
like the
Mandalorian.
remnants. Yeah, like yeah, it was I can't remember what they called themselves, but yeah, it was one of the ones that Gideon was on in season 3 when they were showing themselves,
I wonder
I
if we're going
think.
to get a mention on him. I wonder if the conversation is going to go something like, how are we going to handle a situation out in that sector now that Gideon is dead or something like. I wonder if we're.
Yeah, because I mean, albeit he's a big proponent and a big enemy, of course, but like there's a number of other people that are on this council that have a huge say in bringing back the Empire. And obviously, it does eventually work because they have the First Order that sprouts up, right? So I do wonder. I mean, obviously they have to mingle in the huts here, and I am still pondering how the connection's going to work between Din spending time on this hut area with the bounty hunters and whatnot, and then connecting it to something imperial. Like there is a level that I'm like that connects the two that I'm unsure of how they connect to each other and how it's going to work. But this is something that the movie will reveal. I'm quite sure. I just haven't thought about that too much yet, but it's something that I'm
This is the,
curious
this
about.
is the first. This is the first time going into a movie that I have no idea what the plot
Exactly what's
is
happening.
going to
Yeah,
look
which is, that can be a good thing, right? And like I'm
like. Oh,
wondering too,
absolutely.
like it's possible that the Huts have something that, in order to access an Imperial base of some kind, or even it's just a preliminary quest to gain, X information about something that brings them up to Imperial level stuff. But like at the end of the day, Din's objective is to to take out the Imperial forces here, right? Because I mean, he's up against with the New Republic, obviously. He's still a bounty hunter at the end of the day. I mean, it's what
Right.
his job is,
Yeah.
but yeah. So I am curious to see how this is going to pan out in that way. But it is cool to see one of these guys here. I'm not sure if this is one of the guys we saw already on that council. I
I'm
can't
not
remember their
sure either.
faces,
Yeah.
but I wouldn't be surprised if that's what this is,
Yeah.
honestly,
A lot of
or
those
something like
guys
that.
were on hologram, and sometimes those are you can't really make out
Hard to
faces
tell.
and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So hard to tell not
I
knowing.
think Din
But
gets captured somewhere along the way here because we see this scene. These are these are all from the second trailer, by the way.
yep,
And he gets his, you see it up there, he gets his helmet removed.
yep,
Uh,
he
so he's
does.
still good. He's not he's still not, he hasn't gone back to being apostate because I don't think this counts. He's been captured and he's had his helmet removed for him.
Yep,
So
exactly.
we don't know by who. Again, we know nothing about the plot. But this is interesting. I mean, I don't know if you have anything to say about this one or
No,
not.
I mean, I think directly, if I'm
Yeah,
remembering the trailer correctly, right after this, he's like, "Oh, well, you've seen my face. Now I have to kill you." Essentially,
it's kind of yeah,
that might be the third trailer, not the second. I might be misremembering that, but
yeah,
pretty funny um for him to say that because I think it's true. Like I'm pretty sure like him going to this hut place because this is where this is. I'm assuming um is going to be quite a poor situation for everybody else involved,
I think you're right.
and probably not him. So
Yeah,
anyway, we'll see how things pan out with that. But no, I mean, and this could very well be our intro to why he's even here. Like
right.
this could very well be the case that he had no intention of coming to this hut planet or had any intention of doing anything with it, but that he got captured on his transit to doing something else,
Yeah,
right? So there's that possibility as well. There's a possibility that he never even got a quest item or any sort of request to get anything in exchange for something. This could very well just be a pit stop that
yep,
was very much unintended. So I'm interested to see what it's going to yield. But yeah, this could be a hint to what that is too, how he gets captured, how he
exactly.
gets involved. So
Exactly.
who knows? But
Well,
yeah.
I don't know if this is who captures him or not. This friggin' guy
Oh, so excited for this guy. This is gonna
brought
be
it
fun.
all. I'm excited to see how he falls in.
Love Embo. He's
This
one of
is
my favorite bounty
Embo,
hunters.
another animated character we're going to get to see
Live
in
action finally.
live action. We've seen so many. We've seen Hera. We've seen Will. I've got a couple Zeb screenshots coming up here too.
Yep.
But
Yep.
this is always exciting to see these animated characters come into live action and see how they fit into these storylines.
Yep. And Embo in the Clone Wars is such a very active proponent. I mean, he's in a number of the arcs. He's in that villagers
Yes.
arc where Hondo Onaka is like terrorizing them.
Yeah.
There's a banking clan arc that he's involved in pretty heavily when he's a bounty hunter there, and a few others that I may be blanking on. But
He's involved in that. I think it was like a one-off episode, but it was that one where Asajj got involved too with they were transporting
yep.
that lady from, I don't think she was from a royal family, but she was from some wealthy family. This creepy guy, he basically ordered a bride and
Yep.
she got
Yep. A
kidnapped.
bride for hire type
Yeah, all of these bounty hunters,
app.
Embo, the droid, High Singer, I think his name is,
Yep.
we're all involved in that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, very
exactly.
much so. So, but and it's something I'm curious too, because when in the animated stuff, he's very quick. He moves around a lot. I mean, his
Yeah,
his his hat acts as multiple things. I mean, it's acted as a shield for him. It's acted as a sled for him. It's acted as a throwing disc for him,
yeah.
and
Uses
a
it for
number
a
of
weapon.
things. Right?
Yep.
It's definitely a weapon, right? So I'm curious to see if in live action he's going to be using it a lot, which I hope he is because that'd be sick.
Oh,
And
I
then
think if we don't get to see him use that helmet in some way, shape, or form, I think there's going to be riots in the theaters.
no, I agree, right? But no, yeah, he's such a good bounty hunter, and I'm assuming he's obviously in leagues with the Huts here or whatever. And I mean, it's
Yeah.
a possibility too that once again we I talked about it earlier, like potentially Din gets captured and brought into the Huts, and that's why he's there,
Yeah.
right? It's a possibility that Embo is hired by the Empire or hired by the Huts to intercept Mando, who's going to do something, right? Like who knows? It's a
Yeah.
possibility that Embo and Mando start fighting, and then he's the reason why he gets brought to this hut
Yeah.
planet. Right?
Could
There's
be.
a non-zero chance that that sort of interaction even happens, and it'd be well, in my opinion, it'd be pretty cool to see. But I don't
Yeah.
know what
Yeah.
the what the stands are on that, but it'd be neat for sure.
This wasn't the very next scene. This is actually was from the third trailer. I think this is his little pet, isn't it? This is his little dog,
The
right?
dog, yeah. Yep. I was about to
Goes
actually
along with
mention
him.
that dog. That dog has quite a an iron grit. Like it's a very
Yeah.
violent creature
He
from
also
what I remember in the Clone Wars.
he
So
saves Embo from some sticky situations too.
definitely. Yep,
Yeah.
100%. So
Yeah.
I yeah, I'm we'll see how things go
We'll
with the
see how
dog
that
too,
works
but
out. Yeah.
yeah, they're gonna be a fearless combo, I think. So it'll be fun to see them in action.
I don't know what planet this is, but Grogu is keeping up with his Jedi training. I mean, he's
Yeah.
meditating at least.
Yep.
I mean,
Yeah, I mean,
is
it
this
was one of
Agent
the things in
Kloss?
sorry, what?
Is this Agent Kloss? Is this where Rey was training with Leia?
I don't know. It could be though. It bears some
I don't
similarities.
know. I don't know.
Yeah.
But
But
it's interesting. Was just an interesting scene.
for sure.
This showed up at the beginning. This showed up in the second trailer and the very beginning of the third one.
Yep.
And the third trailer hooked me. I got to be honest. I don't know why I was feeling this way, but I felt like I wasn't super excited for this movie for some reason.
Hmm.
I hate even saying that, but I'm like, okay. I mean, I'm excited, but I'm not like, you know, gnawing at the bit like I had
Hmm.
been.
There's a bunch of anticipation stuff, I think, for me, because it's something that I
Yeah.
don't really know. Because I
But
mean, obviously, we're familiar with Mandalorian in the sense that he's had a series and a number of seasons,
right.
right? But we don't really know how that works in a movie format. We never had that. Our
That's
longest Mando experience on an episodic format is even, an hour maybe of pure content and then a break into the next episode or something. Right. So I am also curious myself to see how well it caters to a movie theater. Um, and also even what the nature of this thing is. Because at the end of season 3 of Mandalorian, he was quite peachy, if I remember correctly, because they had finished up all of the stuff with Moff Gideon. They had essentially reclaimed a portion of Mandalore or whatever for the Mandalorians, and he had met up with the New Republic people, and it had been kind of peachy, whatever, hunky dory. And then him and Grogu were just chilling at a house, and it cut to black, right? Like he was doing. It was
yeah.
very much a finish to what seemed like a pretty completed story. Um,
That's what it felt
and
like.
then now we have a movie coming out that is his story more in depth with the New Republic, I imagine, and him potentially getting back into bounty hunting in some regard. And I don't know what the extent of that is. But no,
Anyway,
I can understand where you're coming from because I
yeah,
thought, well, I didn't think this. I had a feeling that his story was already kind of coming to a close, and now we have something in more detail.
yeah,
But we also know that this big Wombo combo movie feature of him, Ahsoka, Book of Boba Fett, and a bunch of post Empire, pre sequel stuff
yeah.
is slotted to come out at some point as well.
That's
So
right.
it could very well be that this movie is an alley-oop to setting that up. Um,
Oh, I think it is. Yeah.
and and that the series of Mando is done, but that the episodic combo world is just getting started. So it might be that that's what this movie is trying to convey.
Yeah.
But honestly, like I don't really know that, and I think a lot of the me not knowing is also feeding into the oh well, I don't know how this is going to be as a movie because I don't really know what to expect because I don't know what the plot is
Yeah. Right.
at all because there's
Yeah.
really no driving force, right? Because like I know, like in Solo, right? Like for instance, we got Solo as an offshoot movie, and we knew exactly probably what that was going to be, right?
Right.
There was no really if and or but, like oh yeah, this is probably going to be him doing the Kessel Run, right? Great.
And we got
And
Kessel.
then doing a bunch of other underworld pre-Han Solo stuff, like stuff I wanted to see, stuff I knew that I didn't know anything about, but I also anticipated it, right? Here, there's less of me knowing and a lot more of me guessing, and a lot less of knowing what the future holds for that combo movie as well. So I don't really know what to expect, and I think that's what's driving my confusion in some regards as well. So I do share similar opinions to you actually in that. But
Yeah.
anyway,
But the reason I mentioned that though is because I've changed my mind actually, and
oh
it was
shit,
yeah, okay. No, that's fine. I let you go ahead and no, I wanted you to say your opinion on that. I've changed my mind, and now I'm chomping at the bit to see this because,
nice,
and I'll tell you what sucked me in was
go for it.
this like I said also showed up. This was the opening scene of the third trailer that came out. What was that? A couple weeks ago now, 3 weeks
Mm.
ago,
Yep.
and it starts out with Yoda's theme playing, which I love that piece of music.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
then, and I think it's Sigourney Weaver's character, Colonel Ward, saying something effective. We've all heard the stories of the Mandalorian and a child, and I got the chills when I heard that.
Yeah.
It's like,
No, that's fair.
my God, I'm hooked. I'm ready to go.
Nice. Yeah.
I want this today.
That's awesome. No, that's like super exciting. So yeah, I mean, like, yeah,
Yeah.
my opinion on it isn't any necessarily like less of that. Like, I am still excited for this, obviously. I'm a lot more cautiously optimistic and curious, I think, is how I would label my
I think
opinions
it's
of
going
it.
to be a great movie.
But yeah, I mean, depending on how things shape out and how well it
Yeah.
frames a certain upcoming story that I'm expecting to see in the
Well,
future, my opinions will very, very, very likely change on this. But who
yeah.
knows? I simply just don't know enough right now, and I think that's just me being a little I'm wondering, right? I'm curious. So we'll
Yeah,
we'll
we're
see how
going to
things
see
go.
what happens. Yeah, this is going to be
But
very
but
different.
yeah, so
Rhoda fighting with Din.
yeah,
This is
so
going to be
this
great.
is a diabolical scene. This is going to be pretty cool, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, so somehow Din gets stuck in a pit fight. I don't really know. Whatever, it's
I
gonna
think
be
he gets
neat
forced. I think I'll tell you my theory. I think he gets forced into doing this. And then, okay, you do this for me, and then I'll give you the information that you want. I think that's
or
what this is
something,
all about.
right? There's a possibility that that's what happens,
Yeah.
but no, I mean, I'd mentioned this last time too, but like Rada being such a tiny little slug in the Clone Wars movie and then turning out to be the most jacked hot that we've ever seen is got to be the most like interesting sequence of Star Wars progression ever. Like this is pretty cool. Like
Uh,
yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing this fight. This will be.
are there steroids in space? Because
I mean, if there
there's
aren't, he found them.
he
He
found
made him. He made him. He's patient zero,
that's more than
clearly.
just hitting the gym, buddy. There's some cheating
Arnold
going on there.
or
Yeah.
something. But yeah. Anyway, very very cool setup
Oh
there, I
my
imagine.
goodness.
But we'll see.
Okay. Yeah, great. All right. I took this one too because I thought this was interesting. I don't know if this is the same creature that Ray, or the same type of creature that Ray heals in The Rise of Skywalker. That's a
I think
big,
it's different.
I think maybe it is a bit different. That's a big snake, let me tell you. And yeah,
Yeah.
That's, that's for scale. Here's Din down here.
Yeah.
That tells you how big
Yeah.
this snake is, you know. We don't know what this is about. How's he get having to fight this guy?
I know. I don't really know. I
I don't
mean,
know.
yeah, I'm not even sure I have an opinion on this actually. I'm really not sure at all how he gets down here, but he
I
looks like he's in a
know.
sewer of some kind. I mean, you can see even
Yeah.
like the discharge ports on the wall that are bringing in sewer water actually. So, my thought on this too is if he is captured by the Hutts in some regard, right, and he's not there for information or whatever, like he gets just
Yeah.
held captive, which is something I'm still on the hit, maybe, right? That might still be what's going on,
Yeah.
but this could very well possibly be his method of escape. Like, oh, he figures out a way to get out of there after having gone through a pit fight of some kind with
Yeah.
Rada or whatever, and then he ends up finding himself in the dips or the depths and despair of the unfortunate basement slash sewer system of the Hut world, and manages to find this unruly creature
Right.
um, down there. So I don't really know. I mean, it really depends on how the Hut world situation like
Right.
happens, like whether or not that's something he's there intentionally for or something he's there like
Yeah.
unintentionally for. Because if he's there intentionally, I don't know how this happens because he should be able to get that information and leave. But if he has to escape, I can see him being stuck in a basement like this or a sewer
Oh
like
yeah.
this. Right. But so anyway, like it depends on how you phrase the context of him even being there. But clearly he makes his way down to some really unfortunate looking creature
And some really unfortunate looking liquid here.
environment.
This
Also
doesn't
without
look
his
clean.
helmet
This
again.
doesn't look clean. Yeah, and he doesn't have his helmet. This doesn't look clean at all.
No, no, unfortunately, it's the Janix sewer water type situation
What an
again.
incredible smell you've discovered.
Yeah, yeah. something like that, right?
I am
But
just I am just so excited to see this guy in
that'll be
action.
super cool.
In
Yeah,
live
Zeb,
action.
Big Zeb. Yeah, so we've seen him only once now in live action.
Little
That was
cameo.
Mando, I think, right?
Little
That was a
cameo at
cameo
the
in
end of season 3 of The
yeah.
Mandalorian.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
that'll be cool.
yeah,
But yeah, I mean and we talked about this last time we broke down the first trailer, but this is our first time really seeing more from Zeb that isn't just a cameo. I mean, we're gonna see him actually being an active protagonist in this movie.
he says
Um
here in the trailer, he says here, I like this kid. So he's talking about Grogu,
Grogu, yeah,
obviously.
obviously,
Yeah, yeah.
right?
So he takes a
So
shine into the little fella.
yeah, yeah, exactly. So
Yeah,
but yeah, so him being able to interact with Din and Grogu like that, and then also that fight scene that we got to see him in the first trailer as well, like
yeah,
obviously like
yeah.
quite an extensive interaction for him. He's going to be an active player in
That's
this
right.
movie, which is awesome. So cool to see a Rebels character animated or not animated, but brought to life in this kind of a manner.
An animated character
So
brought to
brought to live action.
him,
Yeah.
Himbo. Yeah. Um, this was an interesting little sequence here that was in the trailer, and I could have took more screenshots. So I think we see one of those. Our last show, I did some screenshots of these lizard-like creatures that look like they also fight in that arena. And I think
Mm.
it's one of them. He crashes through the door, and then the camera zooms in on this little fellow. This is a baby Rhodian, and
Yep.
and his mother rips him out of there, runs off with him, says, "We're getting out of here because this looks like trouble." And then Mando looks at Grogu and says, "Well, what are you waiting for?" And he absconds off with the baby Rhodians. I think they're called prams. So here he is now occupying it.
Yep.
And
Oh my gosh.
he just takes off. It's quick too. I think it's quicker than his old one was. He
Oh,
takes off.
probably. Yeah.
Yeah, and they get the hell out of there. Uh,
Yep.
so
Super funny. Yeah.
awesome.
No
Yeah.
transfer of the power. Pretty
Transfer.
much, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
new seat. Brand new
Yeah.
seat. Grogu
That'll
there.
be witty. I think there's going to
That's
be a lot of moments in this movie that are also very like poke fun at the situation that we're in,
there's
like
gonna be
pretty funny
laugh out
stuff. So
loud. Yeah.
I think we're going to have some pretty good moments that are pretty
There's
funny
going to
here.
be
So
laugh out loud
yeah,
moments in this, tears
for
running down
sure.
your face. Yeah, yeah. Speaking of laugh out loud moments, I just had to take this one. He's still eating the cookies,
Yeah, no, he's
the blue cookies.
for such a small kid, quite the glutton.
Oh God. Well,
uh,
we talked about it in the last trailer in our last episode. He lunges for Colonel Ward's snack or whatever that is she's eating.
does. Yep.
I mean,
Yep.
he's got to watch his diet. We don't want to.
Well, in season two, he started eating those like eggs, like for
Oh
that
my
girl,
God,
like
I
for that
almost forgot
frog
about
woman.
that. Oh,
Yeah, I mean,
how
there's
many of those
never
did
been a
he eat?
moment where Grogu hasn't been eaten.
Yeah, she would have had another dozen kids there if he hadn't eaten half
I
of them.
know. So
Good
yeah, he's
grief.
got to watch his diet and probably what he's choosing to eat. But yeah,
Yeah.
we'll get around. I mean, that's just a totally different story at that point. But
That planet where this
whatever.
Imperial facility is obviously cold. Because here's the
Yep.
guys. This is their cold weather gear, like we see.
Snow troopers.
Yeah, see
Yep.
them wearing on Hoth. Yeah,
Well, even in the background of that first Imperial clip you showed, he was in the back of like
yeah.
and actually that shot. I didn't say it then, but it reminded me a lot of in Andor season two when um Krennic is giving his speech about Gorman, and they're
Yeah.
giving the speech on the energy program. He's in a conference room that, if I'm correct, has a background that looks kind of wintry, right? But I'm not sure if that's correct. Like they might be on the same place,
Right.
but
Yeah.
maybe not, right? I mean, there's a number of Imperial facilities that seem like they're in the
Well, they seem
winter.
like they don't. They're kind of like the rebels too. They don't want their facilities to be found either. So
No.
they go all over
So
the place.
regardless if it's the same place, it seems like it's following a pretty consistent Imperial trend. But yeah,
Yeah.
so snow gear and
Yeah.
active deployment clearly happening here. So something's going down.
Yeah.
And
Something's going down on a cold planet again.
yeah,
So
go figure.
yeah. Yeah. Um, had to take another one. Here she is in her X-wing uh, gear.
Yep.
getting out of her fighter. So she might have a high rank, but she's still willing to
Active
get
duty
get in
still,
the cockpit and do what she needs
right?
to do. Yeah,
Willing to do the job. No, that's the thing too. Makes a good
yeah,
leader if you're able to actually go and do the
that's
same
right.
work as your fellow
Awesome.
soldiers. So
Excited
definitely
to
a
see
good.
Sigourney Weaver. Really excited to see Sigourney Weaver in this.
Yeah, I think she's going to do a good job. I mean, even just from the stuff we've seen in the trailer, I think she's already done a good performance and haven't even seen
I
the
think
movie
so
yet. So,
too.
yeah.
Possibly another, well, it's already been a laugh out loud moment because we saw the scene in the trailer. He runs off the Razor Crest. This
Yeah.
this is him reuniting with the Anzellans, and they're still scared of him. He runs right up to him like, horrible baby. That's a bad baby.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, in the first trailer, we saw him climbing around
It's awesome.
the
Oh,
sewer ducts, I think, in a few areas with them, and I think
yeah.
they said like "Go baby" or something like that when
Oh,
he
he
took
shoots
out the
that.
rat.
Yeah, yeah. They have this encounter in that sewer with this. I call it a giant rat.
Yeah, rat
And
looking
I
thing.
think, and he shoots this. I don't know what kind of weapon he's got on him, but he shoots this green stuff at him.
Yeah,
And Zelen says, "Good job, baby."
yeah, that yeah, I remember that now. Pretty funny. Yeah, no, this is
They
going to be
start
another
warming up
sequence
to
of
him. Yeah, yeah.
yeah, this is
I
going
think
to be another sequence that's going to be pretty funny, I
The
think.
Anzellans
So,
are going to start warming up to him in this too. They're going to
oh
realize,
yeah, I
hey,
agree.
this kid's all right, you know.
Hmm.
And I
Might
had
be
to take,
annoying at first, hard to start liking, but
yeah,
once you get it or
I
not,
had
it's
to take
good. But
another one of Zeb. He's having a good time
yep,
here.
happy go lucky man
He's
here in his
laughing. He's busting some buckets.
yeah,
He's just having a grand time, just defeating the Empire. So,
exactly.
and
Super
this
awesome.
is no, this isn't the last. Well, this is the last screenshot, but I got a couple other things to show everyone. This was reminiscent of the Rise of Skywalker. Also, we don't know how they get tipped over, but here's some Imperials going flying.
Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah. Looks like an episode 9 flick of them when they were oh they fly now type
yeah,
situation.
didn't Chewie shoot him with his bowcaster and they went flying or something like
Yeah,
that? I
yeah,
can't
something like
remember.
that. Right. So
Yeah,
pretty neat. But
yeah, pretty
yeah.
neat. So we got in the meantime, since our last show, we got the poster too.
Nice.
This
Yeah, I remember
is
that.
the poster. Now I bring this up because I got one more thing to show you, and this is the one more thing I've got to show you. So if you remember in the last episode, I keep referring to our last episode, don't I? But we did Mandalorian Grogu last time.
We did.
I brought up
It's a
that
very
post.
relevant topic.
If you remember, I brought up that poster of that old
Flash Gordon.
Flash
Right.
Gordon poster, right?
Yeah, I remember that.
So here's what I did. I'm having a hard time scrolling down here. I'm going to show off my Paint Shop Pro skills now, which really aren't
Oh,
skills. It's pretty simple to do. So I put them side by side because I wanted to show how similar they are.
they really are. Yeah.
This is
Even the
obviously, yeah, this is going
yeah,
to be
obviously the
reminiscent of
way
these. Yeah,
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 the way that the title bends what like Flash Gordon does, even like the side text items on the side
yeah,
too, like
yeah. The
everything.
way the text goes almost roller coaster like up and then
Wow.
down.
Nice.
Um, Yeah, starring Pedro Pascal as Din
Din
Djarin
Djarin and
and Grogu as
Grogu as
himself.
himself.
And down here, if you're searching for new adventure, this is the way.
Super
Oh,
awesome. Yeah, I love
only
that.
in theaters with the exclamation point after it.
Yeah, yeah.
Instead of
Oh my
amazing,
gosh.
strange world adventures.
Hmm. Yeah, no kidding.
This is
Yeah, no,
just
you're right. The
so awesome.
resemblance is striking. It's really
Oh, this is so
no other
awesome.
way to describe that. That's awesome. Super
Yeah,
exciting.
yeah, I love seeing them go
So,
back to these old style things like this. It makes me smile.
no, for sure. Well, I mean, it just shows that the people making this stuff have a good
Yeah,
background. Like they know what's
that,
up, right? It's
that,
not,
yep, yep.
that's awesome stuff.
That's
But
why I showed that. So, all right. So stop
cool.
share on that. All right. What's your final thoughts on that before we wrap it up here?
Yeah, I mean, as I said, I'm curious to see where things go. I mean, the more and more I interact with stuff, I think the more optimistic I'm becoming about. I mean, I'm looking forward to it, right? I mean, this is going to be
Yeah,
our opportunity to go see it in theaters. Hopefully, we'll be coming up here in either end of May or early June, and it's been a
near the
while
end
since
of
I've been in
May.
the theater.
Oh,
for
you and
stuff
I
like
are
that.
getting
So,
together because
oh, I
you're
know.
not leaving until the end of June. So you and I are going to get a chance to see this
I agree. Yeah,
together.
for sure.
I
So,
want to get.
it's going to be an opportunity to. I mean, I haven't been in the theaters in a hot minute for anything that I really
I
wanted to go
haven't
see.
either.
So,
I haven't been to the theater since the last James Bond came out, and I think that was October of 2021. I
yeah,
think it came out. So
exactly.
it's been
It's
over
been a
4 years
long
since I've
time.
been to the theater.
So, no, I think being able to go into theaters and see something again that I'm actually looking forward to go see, and
Right,
not just going there because my friends are going, will be
right.
will be pretty exciting. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to be awesome. So yeah,
Yeah,
very very
yeah.
happy.
I'm going to echo your comments, and I'm just like I said, I I'm almost ashamed of myself that I had feelings like I wasn't super excited for it, but
Mm.
now I am, and maybe it's also because it's getting closer to that
Sure. Yeah.
for
Well, I
this
mean, the anticipation's
that.
rising. We're only 18 days away from
Yeah,
that drop in
yeah,
theaters. So
yeah, right. 18
yeah,
days away. Do
very
you
nice.
remember that first trailer too? Didn't that come out like last August or September or
Yeah,
something?
it's been a
It was
while because
early.
well, I'm a very calendared guy, very scheduled, right? I put stuff like that. Actually, hold on. I think my AirPods just died.
I still hear you.
You do. Great. Sick. Anyway, um, yeah, I just heard you too, so that's awesome. Anyway, no, because I put that in my calendar like as
Yeah.
a event for that day, so I'm aware of it. And I did it a year in advance, I think actually. Because I usually do that stuff just to be like, oh yeah, by the way, this is dropping this day, so I can be like aware of it tentatively. But it's been a while since I've had that in my calendar, and now it's like coming to my
Yeah.
doorstep basically in the
Yeah.
next 18 days. So we'll see how things pan out. But yeah, very exciting.
Yeah, it almost felt like that first trailer was, I hate to say this too, felt like it was almost too early.
Maybe
They should have maybe
might have
waited
been.
another month or two to come out with that. And then it came out and it was like, oh, that's cool, And then it's
Yeah,
like, okay, well, yeah, well, we still got some other Star Wars projects coming
got a
here.
lot of stuff coming up before that even hits the burner.
Right.
So
Exactly.
yeah,
So,
but
all
yeah,
right, you want to wrap things up here? And
yeah. I think we had a good discussion here
we had
about
a great
Maul
discussion.
Shadow Lord, and bittersweet end to everything there. Looking forward to future projects there, and
Yep.
I mentioned we talked about a few of our future aspirations for maybe how that'll end up. So very exciting show, and 10 out of 10. And yeah, I know we look forward to the future at Mando Grogu and see how everything turns out with that. And I'm sure now, I mean, now that I'm pretty much done with school, we'll probably host a show after we're talking about the movie. You might even be able to do it in person actually if we've seen the movie in person. So who knows? There's always a possibility
Yeah, we'll see what the
for
timing is.
that. But
Maybe we can go to your apartment or something if you're still in your apartment. Maybe we can do
yeah,
a show there or something.
maybe
Yeah.
we'll see how things go. But yeah,
We'll see what the timing looks like. Yeah, yeah. So, and
but
I don't mind staying down there with you a little bit later too in the summertime. I don't like driving at night.
no, that's fair.
I'm admitting a personal thing here now, right in front of God and everybody here.
Yeah,
Yeah, I do not like driving at night at
nope,
all.
fair enough. Me neither.
It's going to be, it's staying light later now, so I'd be more willing to stick with you a little later down there. And if we
Yeah.
decide to do a show, maybe we can go back to your apartment and do a wrap up on it. So on the movie.
But yeah, so all a bunch of good future stuff to think about
Great
for what's
stuff.
coming up Star Wars wise, and
Ahsoka season 2 is coming at some point. Still don't know
yep,
when
haven't
that's
heard much
coming.
about that, but it's coming.
No, there must be in post production. I think the filming is done now and has
Yep,
been done for a while. They're obviously in post production, and like you have said in the past, that's three-quarters of these movies. It seems like so.
yep, very
Yeah.
nice.
All right.
But
Cool.
cool,
All
cool.
right.
But
We will say so long to everyone then, and thank you for joining us. Please like, subscribe. Don't forget to congratulate Jacob. And
thank you again in
yeah,
advance.
and I will thank everyone in advance for giving him a congrats on his upcoming university graduation. And we will see you again, hopefully soon. Hopefully, we're gonna do these a little more regular
Yeah,
from
yeah,
here
for
on
sure.
out. But thank you again, and we will see you soon. And may the fourth or force be with you.
It's a good holiday.